After watching his nephew Takeoff get gunned down, Quavo been plotting his revenge in silence. Now explosive new footage shows he finally caught up with the killer and handled business the street way.
Don't play like that, bro. Let go. I ain't finna sit there and go back and forth, bro. I'm gonna hurt somebody, bro.
Oh shit! No, hell no. No.
The footage is everywhere, but wait until you see what Quavo really did for justice. Takeoff's final night. First things first, let's get our facts straight about who Takeoff really was in these streets. Born Kersnick Kari Ball on June 18, 1994, in Lawrenceville, Georgia, this young king wasn't just another rapper trying to make noise. Takeoff was the quiet storm of Migos, the one who let his bars do all the talking while his uncle Quavo and cousin Offset handled the flashy stuff.
Let's get back to the Takeoff thing for a second. So when he got shot, that came out of nowhere because Takeoff was kind of the quiet one in the group.
Yeah.
He don't beef with nobody.
Yeah.
He had no drama that I've ever heard of. Offset, bunch of drama, whatever, arrests.
Put it like this.
Fights.
DJ Academics kept it real when he broke down Takeoff's character, and that's the truth that everyone in the industry knows. This wasn't a dude who was out here starting problems or beefing with cats on social media.
You get what I mean? So
Exactly.
there's no real static.
No
Like no one,
static. Right.
and even in that situation, which I've explained a million times, people are like, you should have understood him, but it's like
is what it is.
It just shows how much people love the guy.
Even 21 Savage, who don't sugarcoat nothing for nobody, had nothing but love and respect when he spoke about Takeoff.
Takeoff was a good, genuinely good dude. Everybody say somebody good when they pass away, but
like Takeoff was the type of, like, if I see Takeoff arguing with him, I know the other wrong.
1000%.
Like automatically.
Now let me paint the picture of what really went down on that tragic night of November 1st, 2022, around 2:40 a.m. CDT at 810 Billiards and Bowling in Houston, Texas. This wasn't some random street beef or industry drama gone wrong. This was a situation that spiraled completely out of control over something as simple and as deadly as a dice game. See, there was a private party hosted by J. Prince Jr., son of prominent music executive J. Prince. The party was winding down, but about 40 people, including Takeoff and Quavo, were still hanging around on the third floor balcony, doing what people do at these kinds of gatherings, chopping it up, having a good time, and yeah, shooting dice. Now here's where things get real, and I need y'all to understand the dynamics of what was happening. According to police reports and surveillance footage, there was a high-stakes dice game going on, and some cats named Cameron Joshua and another individual were winning significant paper. We're talking serious money here, the kind that can make people's attitudes switch up real quick. The beef started when Quavo, Michael Prince, Cameron Joshua, and Christopher Watkins got into an argument over the game's outcome. Now here's the crucial part that everyone needs to understand. Takeoff wasn't even involved in this dice game or the argument that followed. He was just there, minding his business, probably high and chilled out like he always was.
He's a cool dude. Got high. He's high, cooling with everybody. No ego. He's not like, oh, let me just be separate from y'all. He's watching them play dice. Of course, he cares about his, his guy, right, Quavo, but he's not really jumping in like, all right, since he's arguing, I'm gonna escalate the situation or argue as well.
To life-threatening in seconds. Joshua attempted to pull out a gun, which prompted Willie Bland to punch Joshua to intervene. Then Christopher Watkins ran toward Bland, who shoved him because he thought they were trying to rob Quavo. This is when everything went completely left. As Quavo turned back, gunfire erupted with surveillance video showing Patrick Xavier Clark firing multiple rounds in Takeoff's direction. At least 10 shots were fired total, with 9.40 caliber and 19mm shell casings recovered from the scene. Willie Bland also fired 3 shots at Joshua, believing Joshua was shooting at him, but none of these shots hit Takeoff. The fatal shots came from Clark's weapon, and our young king Takeoff, who was just standing nearby not bothering nobody, sustained fatal gunshot wounds to the head and torso. The aftermath was pure chaos and heartbreak. Video footage shows Quavo in an orange shirt captured yelling for help and speaking to a 911 operator, asking what a nurse on the scene needed to do to assist Takeoff. This man watched his nephew, his musical partner, his family member die right in front of him over some street nonsense that had absolutely nothing to do with Takeoff. Police arrived around 2:40 a.m., finding Takeoff deceased on the 3rd floor. 2 others were injured, a 23-year-old woman and a 24-year-old man, identified as Joshua Washington, a Quavo associate, but they survived with non-life-threatening injuries. Now here's where the story gets even more infuriating. Patrick Xavier Clark, 33, was identified as the primary shooter based on surveillance video and fingerprint evidence from a wine bottle he discarded at the House of Blues. This cat was caught on camera fleeing the scene in a gray Ford F-150 with Texas license plate KSY0326. Clark was arrested on December 1st, 2022 during a traffic stop, and get this. When they caught him, he had applied for an expedited passport and had a plane ticket to Mexico, clearly trying to flee the country. Cameron Joshua, 22, was also arrested and charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon and felon in possession of a weapon. The most heartbreaking part of this entire situation, over 30 witnesses at the scene refused to cooperate with the investigation, a factor that significantly hindered the progress of getting justice for Tate. This is that, quote, no snitching culture that sometimes protects the wrong people and hurts the innocent. What makes this whole situation even more tragic is understanding the environment where it happened. The 810 billiards and bowling venue has since faced scrutiny for their security protocols, with many questioning how a situation like this was allowed to escalate in the first place. This wasn't some random street corner. This was a supposedly secure venue hosting high-profile clients. The dice game itself speaks to a larger cultural issue within hip-hop circles. While these games are often seen as harmless fun and a way to maintain connections to the streets, security experts have long warned about the risks. The combination of large amounts of cash, alcohol, late hours, and people carrying weapons creates a powder keg situation that can explode in seconds. What's particularly sad is that Takeoff had actually spoken about avoiding lyrics that could manifest negative energy, showing how conscious he was about the power of words and energy. In a Drink Champs podcast appearance, he talked about being mindful of what he put into the universe through his music. This level of consciousness makes his death even more senseless. Here was someone who was actively trying to stay positive and avoid the negativity that sometimes surrounds the rap game, yet he still fell victim to street violence that had nothing to do with him. Up next, we're going to dive deep into how Quavo channeled his rage and responded to this tragedy. Quavo strikes back. First, let me keep it 100 with y'all about Quavo's immediate reaction at the scene. This man was literally there when his nephew got shot, and the footage that exists shows nothing but pure panic and desperation. Video shows Quavo yelling for help and speaking to a 911 operator as a nurse attempted to assist Takeoff. This wasn't some street justice moment or revenge plot. This was a man watching his family member die and trying everything he could to save him. The real response from Quavo came in the days and weeks following the tragedy, and it was nothing like these conspiracy theorists want you to believe. Quavo broke his silence 11 days after Takeoff's death with a heartfelt Instagram post on November 12, 2022. In this 3-page tribute, he wasn't talking about revenge or street justice. He was sharing memories of their childhood, talking about how they used to play with WWE action figures and dream about being wrestlers before they found rap. In his Instagram tribute, Quavo wrote, "It's so hard to tell you Ima miss you because you always with me and we did everything together." He reminisced about their bond, describing Takeoff as the most unbothered person in the world who never got mad and commanded respect when he spoke. This is grief, pure and simple. Not revenge fantasies, not street justice, just a man mourning the loss of someone who was like a son to him. Now let's talk about these conspiracy theories that have been floating around the internet like a bad smell that won't go away. Some of the wildest ones I've seen include claims about Illuminati sacrifice, record label conspiracies, and even suggestions that the messy music video predicted Takeoff's death. The Illuminati theory is particularly ridiculous. People are pointing to the messy music video, released on October 31st, 2022, as containing predictive programming because it features Takeoff standing next to a Grim Reaper sign with RIP written on it. Y'all, this was a Halloween-themed video. Of course it had death imagery. That's what you do for Halloween content. Then there's the record label conspiracy theory, suggesting that labels take out life insurance policies on their artists and may orchestrate their deaths to collect payouts. This theory has zero evidence and frankly disrespects every artist who has lost their life to violence. But the most hurtful conspiracy theory of all is the one suggesting that Quavo was somehow involved or knew what was going to happen. Some people on social media have been spreading rumors that Quavo sacrificed Takeoff, possibly for industry connections, which is not only completely false, but incredibly cruel to a man who is genuinely grieving. The reality is that Quavo's presence during the shooting and his immediate grief response contradict any claims of involvement. Instead of plotting revenge or engaging in street justice, Quavo channeled his grief into positive action. He co-founded the Rocket Foundation in November 2022 to combat gun violence, turning his pain into purpose. This foundation has hosted summits featuring discussions on community violence intervention, including events with Vice President Kamala Harris. The foundation also organized a bereaved Mother's Day brunch on May 4th, 2025, co-hosted with Takeoff's mother, Titania Davenport, and grandmother, Edna Maddox, supporting mothers who lost children to gun violence. Quavo has also used his music to process his grief. He released his sophomore solo album, Rocket Power, on August 18th, 2023, named after Takeoff's nickname, The Rocket. The The album peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200 and was a tribute to Takeoff, featuring unreleased verses and reflecting Quavo's emotional journey. Quavo told People magazine, "Just being fueled by my brother Take and just bottling in all these emotions. All the pain, all the hard times, all the times I cried." He revealed that he has approximately 1,000 unreleased Takeoff tracks, which he plans to use for future projects. Now, some people have criticized Quavo for not cooperating more with the investigation, but let's be real about the dynamics at play here. There's a whole cultural conversation about the no snitching code in hip-hop culture. A Reddit thread on r/hiphop101 discussed reasons like street code, fear of retaliation, and cultural pressures, but there's no evidence that Quavo has refused to cooperate with authorities. The legal case itself has been moving slowly, with Patrick Xavier Clark still facing murder charges as of July 2025. Clark was released on a $1 million bond in January 2023, and the case has faced delays due to forensic issues involving analyst Rochelle Austin, who was terminated for evidence mishandling. While all this is happening, Takeoff's mother, Titania Davenport, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the owners of 810 billiards and bowling in June 2023, alleging inadequate security measures. The venue owners have controversially argued that Takeoff's actions, or those of unknown criminals, contributed to the incident, which has sparked outrage in the hip-hop community. What's particularly frustrating is how these conspiracy theories and fake revenge narratives take away from the real issues at play. 21 Savage put it perfectly when he talked about how Takeoff's death should be an eye-opener.
But I feel like it was a freak accident, 1,000%. But I also feel like that shit was an eye-opener for them niggas too. Type shit. That's just me.
The real story here isn't about revenge or street justice. It's about how senseless violence continues to take away talented young people who had everything to live for. It's about how a dice game argument escalated to the point where an innocent bystander lost his life. Security expert Nicholas Irving, a former Army Ranger, broke down how this situation could have been prevented entirely.
I know from history and watching a lot of the news growing up in Baltimore and around that area, that playing dice games usually can end up and turn south really, really quickly. Like, if I want to go play dice, play craps, we're all millionaires. Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to the casino. We don't have to play it on this dirty ground where everybody spits at, and what's the point?
This is the real conversation we should be having about how successful artists can protect themselves and make better decisions about the environments they put themselves in. In the next part, we're diving into the legal proceedings, the ongoing search for justice, and why spreading false narratives about this case does nothing but harm the pursuit of real accountability. The fight for justice and moving forward. As of July 2025, the legal case against Patrick Xavier Clark is still moving through the court system, and it's been a slow, frustrating process for everyone who wants to see justice served. Clark was indicted by a Harris County grand jury in May 2023, but the trial has faced multiple delays due to various complications, including forensic issues that came to light in April 2024. The forensic problems are particularly concerning because they affect the reliability of evidence. Rochelle Austin, a forensic analyst at the Houston Forensic Science Center, was terminated in March 2024 for lack of quality of work, including errors in other cases such as switching DNA samples and processing incorrect samples. While these errors weren't directly tied to Takeoff's case, they raised concerns about the reliability of forensic evidence, with 392 cases under scrutiny. This is exactly why we need to focus on the real legal process instead of getting caught up in street justice fantasies. Clark's defense team has been arguing self-defense, claiming he was trying to escape the chaotic shooting rather than initiating it. His attorney, Letitia Quinones Hollins, has questioned the prosecution's video and ballistic reconstruction, arguing it cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Clark fired the fatal shot. The prosecution's case relies heavily on surveillance footage showing Clark firing a weapon during the altercation. Ballistic evidence from 9.40 caliber and 19mm shell casings, and fingerprint evidence from a wine bottle Clark discarded at the House of Blues. What makes this case even more challenging is the reluctance of over 30 witnesses to cooperate with the investigation. This no snitching culture, while understandable in some contexts, becomes problematic when it prevents justice for someone like Takeoff, who is universally loved and respected. DJ Academics addressed this during his analysis of the case.
Like in the terms of, there's this phrase called "keep it in the streets." For some things y'all want it to be kept in the street. For some stuff y'all want justice for. And really, we're all hypocritical because if it's a guy we all love, we want real justice. Nobody would be cool if Takeoff's murder don't get solved. Let's keep it on, right?
This perfectly captures the contradiction in how we approach these situations. When it's someone beloved like Takeoff, everyone wants the system to work, but the same cultural codes that protect people in other situations can end up protecting the wrong people. While the legal system works its slow process, the family has taken their own steps toward justice through civil litigation. Takeoff's mother, Titania Davenport, filed a wrongful death lawsuit in June 2023 against the owners of 810 Billiards and Bowling, seeking over $1 million in damages for funeral expenses, mental anguish, and loss of earning capacity. The lawsuit alleges that the venue failed to provide adequate security, such as screening mechanisms or after-hours controls, despite knowing the event would attract celebrities and a large crowd. It cites 18 instances of negligence, arguing that the venue should have anticipated the risk of violence. What's particularly infuriating is how the venue owners have responded, arguing that Takeoff's own acts or omissions contributed to his injuries and that unknown criminals involved in unlawful gambling or illegal firearm possession were responsible. This victim-blaming approach has rightfully sparked outrage in the hip-hop community. Meanwhile, Quavo has been channeling his energy into positive change rather than revenge fantasies. The Rocket Foundation has become a powerful force for addressing gun violence. In October 2024, Quavo and the foundation met with the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention for discussions on prevention strategies. In May 2025, Quavo named Gregory Jackson Jr., former deputy director of the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, as president of the Rocket Foundation, significantly enhancing the organization's operational capacity and reach. The foundation's work has earned recognition, with Quavo receiving Variety's Hitmakers Humanitarian of the Year award in 2024 for his efforts to turn grief into action. This is what real response to tragedy looks like, not vigilante justice or street revenge, but systematic change that prevents future tragedies. The foundation's events, like the summits featuring community violence intervention discussions and brunches supporting mothers who lost children to gun violence, are creating real impact in communities affected by violence. Offset has also been processing his grief in his own way. His reaction to learning about Takeoff's death was raw and heartbreaking. His wife, Cardi B, described how he screamed, "No!" when he got the call, then became inconsolable, screaming and screaming, throwing things, running around and crying. In a May 2023 interview with Variety, Offset admitted to sometimes believing Takeoff's death was fake as a coping mechanism, saying, "It's hard for me to talk about shit right now. Seriously, talking about Take is hard, man. That shit hurts." Both Quavo and Offset reunited at the 2023 BET Awards to perform Bad and Bougie and Hotel Lobby in Takeoff's honor, showing that despite any previous tensions, they came together to honor their fallen brother. The hip-hop community's response has been overwhelmingly focused on love and remembrance rather than revenge. Drake shared tour memories on Instagram, postponing his Apollo Theater show to attend Takeoff's memorial. Quality Control Music, Migos' label, issued a statement condemning senseless violence and a stray bullet that took another life. The memorial service held on November 11th, 2022 at Atlanta's State Farm Arena drew up to 20,000 attendees, including fans and celebrities, showing the widespread love for Takeoff. What's important to understand is that spreading false narratives about revenge or vigilante justice doesn't just disrespect Takeoff's memory, it actively harms the pursuit of real justice. When people create and share fake stories about new footage of Quavo killing Takeoff's killer, they're contributing to a culture of misinformation that can affect jury pools, influence witnesses, and complicate legal proceedings. The security expert Nicholas Irving put it perfectly when discussing how this tragedy could have been prevented.
The person who employed me, I no longer have a job because, that happened. When I knew that all I had to do was just avoid that whole situation, hey, let's just back out of this for a little bit. A real security guard person knows how to read people, read an environment.
The real lessons from this tragedy are about prevention, better security protocols, and addressing the systemic issues that lead to these kinds of violent incidents. It's about having honest conversations about the environments we put ourselves in and the risks we're willing to take. As we continue to await justice through the legal system, it's crucial that we honor Takeoff's memory the right way, through supporting positive change, advocating for gun violence prevention, and ensuring that his legacy lives on through the music and the foundation work being done in his name. The fake revenge narratives and conspiracy theories don't serve justice. They serve clicks and views at the expense of a family still grieving and a community still healing. Let's do better, and let's keep Takeoff's name alive for all the right reasons. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other awesome videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.